Hello, guys, and welcome to Rise. I am ecstatic about our guest today. It's the one and only Marci Shimoff. She is the #1 New York bestseller author, a world-renowned transformational teacher, and an expert on happiness, success, and unconditional love. Her New York Times bestselling books, Happy for No Reason, Love for No Reason, and 6 titles in the Chicken Soup for the Woman's Soul series have sold more than 16 million copies. She's also a featured teacher in The Secret. I am so delighted, happy, and blessed to have you here, Marci. Thank you so much for coming.
I am so delighted to get to be here with you. I love what you're doing with this summit. I'm so excited to be part of it. I love your work. I got to see a sneak preview of your book and I loved that. So I know we're going to have a great conversation.
Oh, I am so ready to dive right in. Happiness. This is a term that we all hear, that we all even strive for, right? But what does happiness really mean?
Yeah, so I have a definition of happiness that I think is probably a little different than most. I call it happy for no reason, which means it doesn't mean that you're walking around 24/7 with a grin on your face or that you're in some Pollyanna state of denial. What I mean by happy for no reason is that you have an inner state of peace and well-being that doesn't depend on your circumstances. So, the reality is life happens to us. There's stuff going on in the world. There's a pandemic. There's all this stuff, and we can't change that. So, but when we have this inner state of peace and well-being, we may feel, affected by all of this, but we bounce back more quickly and we have this backdrop of peace and well-being that we take with us wherever we go. So we're not looking to extract our happiness from life, but we're bringing this state of being to our life experiences.
Oh, I love that definition, and I totally agree. I want to share with you, I just had an experience. I've been talking about it a couple of times on the summit. Earlier this year, I was diagnosed with cancer. And, I was just literally wrote about that in my book about, a whole chapter about the body and its language and communication with us, and how everything happens for a reason. There's always teachings, there's always deeper wisdom there. And it's almost like the alchemical process of the writer, right? I just had to go through that myself to integrate it fully. And I could totally relate to what you just said. I was there was this storm happening in my life. For sure, it was scary. It was out of the comfort zone. It was alarming. All my priorities were kind of, I had to restructure them. It was really a wake-up call. And at the same time, I could rest in that deep, peaceful essence within my being. And I had experience of exactly what you're talking about. So I fully understand that. And
well, congratulations, because that's what really counts. And that's what gets you out of, or what gets you beyond those kinds of circumstances and into healing, is coming from that place. So, yeah,
it was super powerful, and it really made me realize the work that I've done on myself, that I could actually dive into deep meditations and I could really sit with it. And I had full trust that whatever, and I mean, it could go anywhere, whatever happens, I have the strength to go through it and I'll be guided and protected. And thanks goodness I'm great. And I've been, I had waves of gratitude overflow in my body. So it's all good. But I really, I wanna really hone on that point, that happiness, it's not a state of being that it's kind of that. I mean, sometimes we feel that washing over our body, we really feel that joy, maybe, right? But happiness is leaning into that essence of our being, that is, even the witness that is witnessing our journey here, right? Because we are not our body, we are not our mind, we are more than that.
Yeah, I mean, really, what you're speaking of is the ultimate kind of what I mean by happy for no reason, which is that recognition of the truth of who we are, that's beyond our thoughts, that's beyond what our body's going through, that's that inner essence of the truth of who we are.
Right. And that is the happy for no reason, right? I mean, just by
That's
being alive, by being on this journey in this body is such a miracle, right?
Yes, it is. It really is. And, you know, I know that some people listening to this might be thinking to themselves, oh, yeah, well, that's easy for you to say. You know, you must have always been happier. And, you know, that's not for me, or I couldn't feel that way. And I just want to, can I spend just a little bit telling about my own journey? Because
yes,
people are always wondering, you know, they think, oh, Marci, you were born happy, you know, everything was fine for you, right? And my answer was absolutely not. I was born depressed. I came out of the womb with existential angst. I had a great family, nice circumstances, and I felt a deep heaviness around me from the get-go. I remember being 5 years old, I was very empathic, and my friends would be out playing, you know, and laughing and everything. And I felt like, how could I be happy when, you know, there's so much suffering in the world? And I honestly think that I came into this life with a lot of, I call it ancestral PTSD. Or past life PTSD. I knew that it just was what part of this package of what I was here to learn. So my growing up years, my solution to my unhappiness was sugar. I became a sugar addict. You know, it was the only thing that made me feel a little temporarily better. And by the time I was in high school, I was 35 to 40 pounds overweight. I realized, okay, this isn't working very well because that only made me unhappier. And so when I was in my early 20s, I did what most people do. I set goals for myself and figured that when I get those goals, that's it, then I'll be happy, right? So I'll share with you, I had 5 goals. I thought, once I get these 5 things, that's it. Happiness is assured. I wanted to have a successful career helping people. I wanted to have a wonderful husband or life partner. I wanted fabulous friends, a comfortable home, and the equivalent of Halle Berry's body. Now I got 4 out of the 5. I do not have Halle Berry's body, but I have a healthy body for which I'm very grateful. I feel very strong and fit for, I'm 63, so I feel great. And
you look amazing. You look amazing. I was just throw it in.
And I have to tell you, I had a major turning point moment. It was in 1998 when I had all those things going for me. I'd worked really hard to make all those things happen. I had 3 books in the top 5 at the same time on the New York Times bestseller list. I just finished giving a speech to 8,000 people, and I had autographed 5,432 books. My client had a massage therapist to massage my hand so I could keep on signing. On one hand, I felt like an author rock star. And I went up to my hotel room after I signed the last book, and I walked over to the big windows overlooking Lake Michigan. I was in Chicago, and I, you know, should have felt on top of the world. And I turned around and I collapsed onto the bed and I burst into tears. And I burst into tears because I realized I'd done everything I thought I needed to do to be happy. I still felt that emptiness inside, and I could no longer fool myself into thinking that just the next thing was going to do it. And I know that we've all had the experience of thinking, oh, just when that happens, that's it, I'll be happy. And then it happens and you're happier for a short period of time, but then it goes away. So I decided, I just dove deeply into the study of happiness. I said, I got to figure this out. And I interviewed 100 unconditionally happy people, and I interviewed all the experts on happiness, and I started doing what they were telling me, and it worked. It really worked. I would say that I went from, if you were giving me a grade, I went from a D+ in happiness to an A. And I'm at solid A. I'm still a work in progress. I still am working on it, but it's solid there. So I was so excited about it that I decided to write a book called Happy for No Reason. I've now taught this to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, actually millions of people have had the book. And I know that no matter where you are in your happiness, whether you're really unhappy right now or already very happy, that you can become happier. There's a science and a technology behind the whole thing.
Thank you for sharing. This is really inspiring because I truly believe that what we teach here, if we had to go through the learning ourselves, if we had to really emerge from, this one place to get there, then it's integrated, then it's real and authentic. And obviously this is the journey that you walked. And so thank you so much for making so many more people happy on the planet. I mean, this is really what we need, right?
I know that you believe in this philosophy. I just want to share. It's, we teach what we most want to learn. And this is a phrase from my friend, Lisa Nichols, our mess becomes our message. And I believe that had I been born happy, I wouldn't be doing this work I'm here to do. This is the work that I'm here to do. So whatever it is that anybody is going through, ask yourself this question. If this were happening for a higher purpose, what might that be? Einstein said the most important question we can ask ourselves is this a loving universe? Is this a benevolent universe? And people who are happy will always say yes. They may not have the life circumstances exactly the way they want it, but they believe that life is for them. So if in fact life is for you, life is on your side and always working for your greatest good, then whatever is happening for you, ask if this is happening for a higher purpose, what might that be?
Yeah, exactly that. And I am coming from a series of traumatic events, one after the other. I really went through the underworld and doing so many workshops and so much therapy in my life. I came to that place also by embodying it. So I really know from, each and every cell of my body exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I feel it, I know it. And I mean, you radiating, you absolutely shining bright. Besides being beautiful, you shine you just this, glowing of beauty. And I want you to share some practical tools with our audience, right? How?
Yeah, that is the ultimate question. How do we get there? So here's what I want to do. I want to tell you one little bit of science, because this one piece of science really spoke to me, made sense to me about everything. And then I'm going to give you the 7 main areas that we can focus on for happiness. And I'll give you a few really practical tips. Does that sound good?
Oh, it sounds amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the deal about happiness. There's bad news and there's good news. The bad news is we have more than we've ever had, and we're unhappier than ever. So, we are suffering from an epidemic of unhappiness and depression. And so it's not about the things, because we're doing well there and really suffering inside. That's the bad news. The good news, science has cracked the happiness code. We know what it takes for people to be happier. That should be headline news. That should be taught in all the schools. So here's the piece of research that I want everybody to know. And that is, we all have something called a happiness set point. It's like a thermostat setting. No matter what happens to us, whether it's good or whether it's bad, we will return to our happiness set point unless we do something consciously to change it. So it's this set point or thermostat setting that is really the key to our happiness. And anybody can change their happiness set point. So here's how the happiness set point is determined. It's 50% genetic. You're born with that. I was not born with the happy genes. It's only 10% your circumstances. Now notice that's what most of the world is so busy going out trying to fix to make themselves happy. Oh, I'll focus on getting everything in the right place and then I'll be happy. Forget it. It's not going to work. It's only 10%. The other 40% is your habits of thoughts and behavior. That's what we can do the most about to shift our happiness. Now, I'm going to take it a step further and say that 50% that's genetic, and you think, oh, well, your genes, you're stuck with it. Scientists in the field of epigenetics, like Dr. Bruce Lipton, have found that our genes will be changed or influenced when we change those habits of thoughts and behavior, which means that 90% of our happiness set point falls into this category of thoughts and behavior. 90%. Hallelujah. That means I can do something about it. And it's actually not anywhere near as hard as you think. So I found out that there were 21 main happiness habits that people could play with to raise their set point. By the way, that happiness set point explains why people who win the lottery, you think, oh, all I'd have to do is win the lottery and then I'd be happy, right? You would be for a couple of months. Within a year, you would return to your original happiness set point. So that's why this set point really matters. So here's the thing. There are 21 main habits. I found that they fall into 7 main categories. And what I'd love to do right now is I'd love to share with you what those 7 categories are. And as I do, I want everybody to think to themselves, where am I the weakest? Because wherever you're the weakest, that's where you want to start. So people may want to write this down. Nunaisi, will you play with me on this? And I want you to tell me where you think you're the weakest as I go through these.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
So I know it's hard for people to remember 7 of anything. So I created a metaphor for it so you can remember it more easily. So these 7 areas of happiness are, I call it building your inner home for happiness. And every home has 7 main components. It's got a foundation, 4 corner pillars, a roof, and a garden. And here's how that relates to these 7 main areas for happiness. The foundation is about taking responsibility for your life and your happiness. It means not showing up as a victim in life, but showing up as a victor or a co-creator in your life. Now, a victim in life, you're being a victim when you're doing one of 3 things. You're a victim when you're blaming others or blaming your circumstances, when you're complaining about whatever is going on, or when you're shaming, which means self-blame. Shaming is shaming yourself or self-blame. So if you find yourself blaming, shaming, or complaining on a regular basis, then you need to take a look at taking more responsibility for your happiness. And there's some specific ways to do that. Then the 4 corner pillars are the pillar of the mind, the heart, the body, and the soul. The mind is your thoughts. Do your thoughts rob you of your happiness? Your heart, do you live with an open heart? I have never met a happy person who had a closed heart. So do you have kindness, love, forgiveness, generosity, gratitude? Then there's the body. Do you have the biochemistry of happiness? Do you have enough serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, GABA, endorphins, the happy chemicals? This, by the way, was where I was the weakest. And then there's the pillar of the soul. And the pillar of the soul has to do with your connection to life, to all of life. Do you feel connected to a bigger energy in life, whether you call it God or spirit or the divine or creative intelligence or nature? I don't care. It's just, are you feeling a connection to that bigger whole? Then there's the roof of your home for happiness. And that has to do with your purpose or passion in life. Are you living a passionate life? Are you doing what you're here on this planet to do? Do you wake up inspired? And then finally, there's the garden of your inner home for happiness. And the garden has to do with who you surround yourself with. Do you have a bunch of toxic people, like the weeds in your garden, who are dragging you down? Or do you have roses and gardenias, the people who are supporting your happiness? So those are the 7 areas. And tell me, if you will, where are you the weakest?
First of all, I love how you just laid it out. It's making sense. It's so clear. It's so easy to assimilate. I don't know where I'm weakest. I feel I feel that I'm pretty balanced all around, doing a lot of work to get there. Yeah, not by chance, by choice.
Usually we have 1 or 2 areas that even when we're doing a lot of work, they're kind of the Achilles heel. So even when things start to get a little, maybe we lose a little bit of our stepping, that's usually the place where we go back to. So for me, as I said, it's the body. I didn't have the neurochemistry of happiness. And these days, if I start to get a drop, I know that's the first place I need to go to address Am I getting enough exercise? Am I getting the right supplements and things? So anyway, so if you did have one area that was weaker, what would you say?
I would probably also say the body. I would say that, whenever I feel that I'm, a little bit agitated, a little bit less patience, a little bit more, feeling out of balance, I will always go to the body, see exactly as you said, do I have enough sleep? Do I have enough exercise? Enough nutrition? Sometimes I can be too busy, and then I a little override those important things that usually I do pay a lot of attention, but yeah, being busy can a little bit. So I would also say that the body would be,
body.
yeah.
So here's why I want everyone to identify your Achilles heel. I suggest that's where you start in terms of raising your happiness set point, because that's where you're going to get the most noticeable change. You start where you're the weakest to get the change. I'm going to share, I know you want me to share a couple practical things. So, and I love to do that. I want people to walk away with some practical things they can do right away in their life. So I'll give you a few. And let me start with the area where I find most people are the weakest. And that's the area of the mind, the pillar of the mind. Most of, and here's why. The average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. And for the average person, 80% of those are negative. It's called the negativity bias. We inherited it from our caveman ancestors who had to remember the negatives in order to stay alive. But we no longer need that much of that tendency. And yet we hold on to that. Happier people actually have created new neural pathways in their brain for happiness, for the positive rather than the negative. My dear friend, Rick Hansen, calls it the Velcro Teflon syndrome. He says, our minds are like Velcro for the negative. They just stick to us, but like Teflon for the positive slides off. Happy people have reversed that. They have the positive stick, the negatives slide more. So I'm going to share with you 3 simple things you can do to start creating the new neural pathways so that the positives stick more. Okay?
Yes.
So step number 1, and this is all very scientific. So I love borrowing from the scientists what their research has found. So step number 1 is to be on the lookout for the good. Actually, there's a lot of yucky stuff out there. There's also a lot of good out there. What we need to do is train our minds to actually be on the lookout for the good. One of the women that I interviewed for Happy for No Reason pretends that she's the Academy Awards committee. And her whole job every day is to give out 5 Academy Awards. So she's always on the lookout for the good. She's, one day she sees somebody doing a kind act and she'll go, that person gets the kindest act of the day award. Or she'll see a really cute, fluffy little white dog walking in the park. She goes, oh, that gets the cutest dog of the day award. So just be on the lookout for the good, for 5 things a day. And if you've got kids, play this as a game with them. Pretend that you're all the Academy Awards committee and you got 5 Academy Awards every day to give out. Then the second step is to savor the good for at least 20 seconds. It's not enough to just experience it. We actually have to let it sink in deeply into our body, into our cells, in order for it to create enough of an impression to have new neural pathways in the brain. So literally 20 seconds. That means if you're looking at a beautiful sunset, you don't just go, oh, that's a pretty sunset, and walk away. You stand there for 20 seconds, and it's as though you're digesting it. You're letting it in, you're taking a bite of delicious food and you're letting it melt into your body. So 20 seconds. Or, if it's, you see the dog, you go over to the owner and say, that dog, I give away Academy Awards and your dog is so cute. I just feel so much joy looking at him, and he gets the Academy Award for the cutest dog of the day. So you notice how that's taking 20 seconds to allow it to make an impression. And then finally, the third step is to go for a 3-to-1 ratio, meaning 3 positives to every 1 negative. So the negatives are going to start, they happen spontaneously, but when you notice them, then you substitute in 3 positives for every 1 negative. So those simple 3 steps, being on the lookout for the good, savoring it for 20 seconds, and going for a 3-to-1 ratio, you practice that for a couple of weeks and you will start developing new neural pathways in the brain where things will automatically start getting better in your life.
I love that. You asked me about my weakest point. And it was in the past, definitely the mind, definitely, no question. So I know exactly that it's possible to shift because I've been in the trenches of it. I know that it takes work and commitment and decision and choice, right? It's not happened by chance. It's actually
and consistency
and consistency, and you actually have to decide that I want to be happy, and therefore I will do the work that takes me there, right? And then yeah, doing that, slowly shifting and creating those new neurological pathways, and really moving away from the wiring that we either born with through epigenetics or acquired throughout our life. So yeah,
exactly. And you know what I've found though is that it actually happens more quickly and easily for people than they think it's going to. It's really a matter of getting started and taking baby steps, little baby step every day, not doing it all. It's not some big complicated thing. You know, people say to me, oh, that sounds so easy. Yeah, it is easy. Do it. That's all we're asking. 5 minutes a day, a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. That's it. But it's a matter of doing these things that will create the change. I think people think it's going to be too hard, and it's just not. I noticed that people, when they take on some of these practices, within a week or two, they start feeling different.
And then raise the vibration, right? So it's like a spiral going up, because the more goodness you see, the more goodness will be there to be shown to you. So you actually starting to change the lenses through which you perceive your reality, and then you perceive more of it. Yeah, it's the law of manifestation, right? It's exactly
absolutely.
that. It's exactly
100%.
Yeah.
You know, everything is energy, everything is vibration, and we're always living at what ultimately I am talking about is raising your energetic vibration, raising your consciousness.
Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, thank you for the practical tips.
Yeah, shall we do one more?
Yes, let's do one more.
Okay, let's do one more simple practice. I love this one. I learned it from a group called the Institute of Heart Math. They are one of the world's leading researchers, or perhaps the world's leading researcher on the heart, how it affects our happiness. They've done a lot of research into what's called heart rhythm coherence. And what they've found is that when you're angry for 5 minutes, it can suppress your immune system for up to 6 hours. But when you're feeling love and gratitude for 5 minutes, it can strengthen your immune system for up to 6 hours. So long-term effects. So I want to give you a practice of theirs that takes just 2 minutes, won't take 5 minutes. And I want everybody to do it with us and notice how you feel any different after 2 minutes. And Nunaisi, you're going to be my guinea pig again. So I want you to tell me how you feel different after this 2-minute practice. It's called the inner ease technique. And it's very simple to do. You can do it with your eyes opened or closed, but I'm going to ask everybody for this purpose today. It goes a little deeper when you do it with your eyes closed. So let's just all close our eyes. And the very first step is to place your hand, the palm of your hand, over your heart. Now, that simple act of putting your hand on your heart starts the flow of a chemical called oxytocin. And oxytocin is known as the love hormone. It's what we have more of when we feel bonded and connected with each other. But just putting your own hand on your heart like this is stimulating the flow of oxytocin in your body. Now, the second step is to imagine that you're breathing in and out through the center of your heart. You're inhaling through your heart. Now you can breathe all the way down to your belly, but you're coming in through your heart. And you can breathe out through the belly, but you're actually going up and through the heart. So imagine that you're breathing in and out through the heart. It's called heart-focused breathing. It doesn't mean shallow, because you can go all the way down to the belly. But it just means focusing on the heart as the breath comes in and out. And you may already start to be feeling a difference. And the final step is on each in-breath, imagine that you're breathing in love, ease, and compassion. So every time you breathe in through your heart, Imagine breathing in love, ease, and compassion. On the exhale, you just imagine relaxing and letting go. But every inhale, you breathe in love, ease, and compassion. Now, a few ways to do that. One is you can remember a time when you felt that. Another way is you can think about somebody or a beloved four-legged that instills in you that feeling of love, ease, and compassion. Or if those don't work as well for you, you can also just mentally say or hear the words love, ease, and compassion, and that works just as well. So breathing into your heart, love, ease, and compassion at your own pace. And one more deep breath in. And on the exhale, you can take your hand down and slowly open your eyes. And as you're opening your eyes, I want you to just tune into how do you feel any different now than you did 2 minutes ago? I mean, this was less than 2 minutes. So how do you feel in your body? How do you feel emotionally? And Nunaisi, you're our guinea pig for this. So how do you feel any different?
So I feel grounded. I feel totally in my body. I feel my heart open. I feel love moving through me. It's really expanding. It's beautiful, simple,
Beautiful.
and beautiful.
So simple and so quick. So what you're describing are signs of going into what's called the love response. Now, everybody has different kinds of experiences during that process. Some people just feel grounded or centered. Some people have tingling in their hands or a warmth in their heart, all different kinds of experiences. But all of these experiences, no matter what you had like that, are a sign of moving into the love response. Now, we've heard about the stress response. You know, we know the feeling of the stress response. And the stress response has its own brain activity, its own heart rhythms, and its own biochemistry. So does the love response. Different brain patterns, different heart rhythms, different biochemistry. Now, here's the deal about this process. Doing it once is just a nice experience. Where you really will get a change in your life is do this twice a day for the next week. And you can do this. I do this with my eyes open too. I can stand in the grocery store line waiting for a couple of minutes with my eyes open. I put my hand on my heart. I breathe in and out through my heart. I imagine love, ease, and compassion. And by the time I get to the checker, she's like, wow, you're so nice. And so just do it a couple times a day for a week as an experiment and see what happens in your life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because it's really about cultivating that, right? It's there, it's available. We just have to cultivate it, and then it expands, and we can own it. We can just tap into that is already there, and we just kind of align with it. Beautiful.
And and you know what I love? I mean, I've done this thousands of times. All I have to do now is put my hand on my heart, and the entire process starts immediately because I've anchored that into my body. It becomes habituated. We're just human beings are creatures of habit. So that's why just doing it a couple times a day, every day, is going to start to have that be an anchor for you. So then anytime you just feel a quick, you're stressed out, you just go like that, and your body starts to settle down. It knows what to do.
Thank you so much for that, Marci. That was enlightening. That was so much value. I'm sure that our audience will absolutely rave about it. And tell me, if people want to learn more about your work, about your books. I know that you've got some courses that you do on miracles and all sorts, right? How
Yes.
can they get in touch with you?
So 2 ways. One is you can go to happyfornoreason.com, happy4, F-O-R, noreason.com. And on there, I have a gift for you, which is I have all 21 of the happiness habits, plus an exercise or a practice to go along with each of them, and a little survey, a questionnaire to see, an assessment to see where you are in the happiness scale. So that's at happyfornoreason.com. And I also teach a program called Your Year of Miracles and another one, a month of money miracles. And that month of money miracles is coming up right now. It's actually the month of September. So you can go to youryearofmiracles.com and find out about that as well. And, as I said, I so love what you're doing. This is why I was so eager to endorse your book, Rise, that I know is coming out in very soon, and be part of this summit, because this work that you're doing with Rise and with helping people truly rise in their life is so needed right now. And you do it with such brilliance and sincerity, authenticity, clarity. And so I'm really, really, I just want to encourage everybody to read your book and to follow all that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Marci, from the bottom of my heart. I know that you are here to make this place a better place. And I know that you're on a sacred mission, and I can feel it. And I want to thank you for all the greatness and goodness that you bring to the world. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. I share, I want to end with one thing, because people are often saying to me, Marci, is it selfish to want to be happy? And my answer is, it is the least selfish thing you could possibly do, because when you become happier, when you raise your happiness set point, it affects everybody around you. And ultimately, I think it's the thing that we each can do to help contribute the most to this planet of ours. There's a beautiful Chinese proverb that I love to share. It goes like this. It says, when there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. When there is harmony in the house, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. And my prayer and my wish for every one of us is that we know that light in our own souls, that happiness, that real happiness in our own souls. And through that, we help create more peace on this planet of ours.
Amen. Thank you so much, Marci. Really appreciate you being here, and yeah, blessings on your journey.
Blessings to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And until the next time we meet, ciao for now.
Ciao.